Hello, hello. Thank you so much for coming to the Sashiko Live Streaming on Thursday night. This is Atsushi. Let me check the audio first. Just a second, okay. Let me check the audio first. Okay, perfect. Whew. Thank you so much for coming back. And I apologize for the last week. I had been feeling under the weather, and last week was a little bit difficult. I mean, I still feel a little not perfectly fine, but it's better enough to do the live streaming. So I will be stitching tonight while talking about something related to Sashiko. I did not bring any topic today, so no topic for now. No topic. So if you have any topic for me to talk about, yeah, no topic for now. Okay, I will change the camera to the stitching camera, and then we will start stitching. And sorry, I skipped a week, so it's kind of difficult to catch up. I will start stitching and then talking about Sashiko. This is not the lecture, or this is not a tutorial, this is not a workshop. So if you could bring your stuff, stitching stuff, and then join here as a place to stitch together, that'd be great. All right, let's change that. Whew. Also, let me know if the audio is good or bad, or if there's any request. I tried to not to. Oops. Can you hear me well? It's probably not as loud as it used to be. Come on. Yeah, probably. Check. Okay, I am going to increase the audio a little bit, so I am just be careful, okay? I will increase it a little bit. I will increase it a little bit, so be careful. A little bit more, just a second, okay? Sorry. Let's see. There was a way to change that. So just a second. I did not change it though. Property, not a property. Okay, how about now? Probably better. Okay, let's increase a little more. It's probably better. Check. Okay, let's go with this. It should be good. It should be good. If it's too low, please let me know. I don't want to just break the microphone. I don't want to sound breaking some noise. So, and I don't want to take so much time on this. Come on. All right. Okay, let's start. Hello. Thank you so much for coming. It's about the same. I know how to do it. Just a second. Oh. How about now? Oh, it's probably bigger. Finally figure out. Just a second. Finally figure it out. I'm getting better little by little, so just bear with me. Okay, this is probably better. This is better. Good. Thank you so much for waiting. I will start stitching. Whew. It's much more difficult than stitching itself. So there's a question, is Sashiko stitching difficult? Nope, not at all. Anybody can do it. And it does not really require years or even months of practicing it. Anybody can do it within a very... I don't know how many days or years exactly one need to do it, but it's not difficult at all. But the point is, though, it is like, of course, it depends on what you want to do. It depends on what you want to do. But if you want to stitch like we do, and if you want to make like a lot of stitching, what you have to do is to learn the posture, what we call it kata in Japanese word. It's the form or posture or the template of movement. And after learning that, it's the matter of practicing. I just got out of the Instagram, but there is a story of my friend. She took my workshop, and I consider her friend, and I hope it's okay for her. Her name is Ellie, and she made a very, very good, I don't know if it's quilting or she pieces some fabric, and that's super, super exciting, super good. So, she has been a good stitcher, I guess, in her, life, but it's not that far. Many years ago, she took it. It's probably last year? No, maybe this year. So anybody can do it. It's just a matter of time, matter of how to start. That's probably what matters. So it's not difficult at all. Sorry, I increased the audio a bit, so I hope this is better for you. I finally figured it out. I think I figured it out. So with that being said, what was I doing? Let me find what I was doing. That's good. How do I do tracing on the materials? Please watch the videos on this channel. There's a tutorials for that, and I'm not gonna repeat it on the live streaming, so just watch that videos on this channel. So today I did not bring any topic, so I would like to I know the topic that I'm gonna talk tomorrow, which is the Sashiko as subtraction, right? Adding and subtraction. What is the? It's minus. So we say that the Japanese cooking is all about subtraction. Not all about, I'm sorry. The Japanese cooking values the subtraction. Instead of adding the ingredients or spices, we try to subtract something out of that materials and then enjoy what it is. So that's the core, like a pure message of the beauty of subtraction, not adding, just taking things away. Come on. And I'm still wondering, like, if Sashiko is subtraction or addition. It is. I'm adding the stitches, so of course it's addition, but at the same times there might be a big difference between just adding it or adding with understanding the subtractions concept. And what I see right now in Sashiko's trend is very much addition. Addition? Addition, right? Like plus. Wait, God, I have to ask my daughter. Plus. It's the matter. We care and we try to be better and we try to add something. And that's all about stitching. There's nothing wrong with that. At the same time, there may be something more than that. More means like not adding. And I don't know how I can explain this because I am adding the stitches, yet I am talking about subtraction. So I will translate what I could come up in the next live streaming in Japanese. It's probably better to talk about it in Japanese than somewhat reorganize it in my brain to share that in here. But is there such a thing as the subtraction, as the beauty of something in the English culture, Western culture, American culture? Oh, Helen, that's perfect. Yeah, that's a very good way to. Thank you. Maybe it's about knowing when not to add, not to add. So now you're giving me the third perspective, third angle. Add, subtract, and not. Like remain, let it be. That's interesting. So we have choice of adding and of course subtracting it and let it be. And the cooking is kind of easy to understand. It's easy to make it like a proverb because we actually take things away from the materials. For example, let's say that I'm boiling the azuki red beans to make red bean paste, anko. You may find some, not a, I don't think it's called lye or something. But these are little bubbly things from the boiling beans. We call it aku. It is recommended to take those little bubbles on the surface of the pod away when we see that because that creates some bitterness or some uncomfortable taste. So it is very important to take that away and then add as little as possible sugar, or if there's any bitter taste in that, too much bitter taste in the red bean paste, we have to add more sugar or something sweet. That's not ideal. So take those bitterness away and add something sweet. So that's actually the subtraction. I don't think Sashiko. Well, do we take the stitch? Well, sometimes we do, but that's not recommended. At the same time, I feel it's quite important to understand the beauty of subtraction when we talk about Sashiko. And I don't know why. I don't know why I think it's important, but it's something I keep. It's something I remember. Like it's something that stick in my brain from my childhood. Since I'm trying to explain what Sashiko is in the series of explaining what Japanese culture is like, this might be a good topic to talk about. like throughout. I don't think I can come to the conclusion today, or you know, I don't even know if there's any conclusion for that purpose, because again, Sashiko is adding stitches. Sashiko is all about adding the stitches, not subtracting. But for some reason, I feel like it's important to understand. Yeah, yeah. Ma, ma, ma is also very. Ma is, in order to explain ma, I would probably need a little bit of research and, make the Patreon article first and then talk about it here so I can sort of have the script. But ma is more like action. There is the ma is the space in action, not the space in it. Things matter like this. So, for example, this between the stitches can be called ma. It can be space in between, right? But we do not really use that. But when we have a space or empty moment, when we move, like, martial arts or even Zen practice, that we call it ma, and it's very, 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 very important to understand that ma to be comfortable in Japanese culture. Japanese comedy, if it took a quite long time for me to understand the stand-up comedy, how to enjoy the stand-up comedy, which I do right now. But in the Japanese comedy, what we have to go through is to understand that ma. It is very important to understand and control the ma to get to be a good comedian. So that's more like an action. But of course, using the ma in the materialistic context is not bad or not wrong. It's just how we use that. So Jenny and also Helen are saying that less is more, less is more, less is more, less is ma. And everything makes sense. It's just something is not clicking. Like less is more is a very beautiful way to say that. And Coco Chanel said something like that as well, right? Like I do not. The simple is best kind of thing. Those kind of concept is always important. But simple is best is not exactly what I'm trying to say. I like adding the stitches. That's the whole point. That's the biggest part of my suffering. Like I do like stitching and adding. Stitching is the practice of adding. For that, why do I have to think about subtraction? Like I am the one who is confused. So I will try to talk about it in tomorrow's live streaming and see what I can come up with what I can come up with in my mother language. But it's quite interesting to come to think about it. So why did I think about the ma today? ma. Subtraction. Something happened. Well, I remembered my grandma's word. Dali bear. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Yes, I do have lots of how-to videos, so enjoy that videos. Not a lot, but at the same time, if you want to finish, it's probably at least 10 hours or 20 hours of amount. So And I'm pretty sure, not pretty sure, because I have not done that, but this might be true. I don't know. I'm not pretty sure. I'm sorry. I'm not pretty sure, but some workshop, like online Sashiko class or Sashiko workshop, they might teach what I share on the YouTube videos for free. The reason I do that is that I do not consider what I share on the YouTube is not Sashiko. Oh, it's D. Oh, Dali Bear is D. That's good to know. So what I share on the YouTube itself is not really Sashiko. It is related to Sashiko. It's sort of the preparation to do Sashiko. It's not the it. And I don't think I can, or even I should, make the tutorials for that core essence without me being responsible for that. So there are two ways. There are two ways to do that. One is the way for me to be the teacher so that I can be responsible. As long as the one who wants to learn, I can help, so I can be responsible for that. The second thing is to just provide the scenery, not information, not tutorials, not the lecture, just the information like today, and they can learn that by themselves by watching it. In that case, I don't provide the answer. They or you find your own answer by just watching it. So when I offer my answers, I want to be responsible, like very responsible. You may wonder what is the responsibility for? To the culture, for the culture, to the culture. I do not want to change the culture more than necessary. The culture is supposed to change. I don't think that Sashiko should be the same Sashiko as a few hundred years ago, and it's not. It's really not. But at the same time, I would like to make sure that we can choose the change instead of being changed by somebody. So, yep. So everything on the YouTube is quite good amount of information, which I do not consider as the core or essence of Sashiko. It's around, which I am. By the way, I am trying to make that class. Although I said that I share everything for free on the YouTube, and you can get that. I sometimes say, okay, you can go and watch everything. At the same time, I understand that that's not good. That's not convenient, right? So I am kind of summarizing everything into, let's say, a few hours, I guess, a few hours classes so that they can, ideally less than 2 hours, probably, like 90 minutes or so that they can grab and go. And those who like to continue doing Sashiko will hopefully come back. So I am trying. Like I used to be very stubborn. I am stubborn right now, probably, but I used to be more. Stubborn is probably the word for that, but oh, shoot, I probably stitched. More cold? I don't know if it's a cold. I don't think it was a coldness, but more unkind. I don't think it's a kindness or niceness. In fact, giving you the specific answer is not kind in my understanding.ですか。ちょっと残そうか。More direct? Was I more direct? I think I'm direct right now too. It's more pure for that matter. I think I was very pure that I did not know anything, but like I understand the needs right now. Although I don't do those things that quick, I don't follow the needs that much, but at the same time, I do understand what it is. And I do not try to ignore that. I used to ignore that. Ah, there we go. I was childish. There we go. Probably immature. Immature. I became mature. It's boring, but I wish I could be. I I wish I could be. Well, you're the judge. I don't know if I became different or not, but I think I became mature after going through lots of nasty things. Don't you think? I was more, I don't want to say, well, I said childish, but not mature, or for that matter, probably innocent, if I would use the better word. I mean, the positive word. Like, for example, I don't sound agitated when somebody asks the question. 3 years ago, like you don't have to go back to the live streaming to watch that kind of thing, but 3 years ago, 4 years ago, at some point, if somebody asks those questions, I get literally agitated. You can probably tell by listening to what I'm like. My voice changes, and many people pointed out like that's I understand what you're gonna do, and it's okay. It's your channel, but that change was a little obvious. So like, okay, well, I'll be careful about it. But that's my feeling. That's the beauty of this live streaming. I cannot fake anything, and I cannot take the words away. Well, I mean, I don't know how to do that too. I probably can, but I don't. Probably naive, probably idealistic, I guess. I think idealism is one way to explain that too. I was hoping that I was not ready to experience what I've been through in the last 2 or 3 years. It took quite a long time to understand what the heck was going on. And I'm not really understanding what was going on right now 100%, but I think I am getting the grip of it. It's the what was going on is the purely mismatching the both culture. Like my expectations is different from your or their expectations, and since I share what Sashiko is based on my expectations, while the listeners or people who are asking the questions are expecting the answer in their expectations, of course it's not gonna, work well. And I back then, since I was idealistic or immature or even emotional for that matter, I thought that was the sign of sort of disrespect. But it's not really that. It's more like, well, of course there were some who were very very disrespectful and ignorant about that kind of things, but not always. So I think I'm kind of different. I don't know. You tell me. If I start saying something completely different, then you have to tell me. Like, if I start saying like, you can do whatever you want in Sashiko, and you can, if I start saying threat doesn't matter, be careful. If I start advertising the watch or something in this live streaming, like you should get this watch and link is on my description area, so you please click and get it. That's a little bit of substantial change. That's kind of funny to imagine. And Jenny, passionate. Thank you. Passionate is the word I often have in my mind, and it's the positive word. Thank you. It's just, it's kind of too clean. It's very personal, but it's kind of clean. Passionate is too positive for me because I was inside of that nastiness. I like, poop is poop, right? I don't want to call it Mr. Poop. Well, I don't know if it's a good analogy or not, but it was bad. It was really, 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 like, I did not think how bad it was back then, but it was bad. The more I learn, the more I think that my reaction was not even reasonable. I did a good job. So, it, around 2019, around 2019, it was a series or collection of all of those words that I learned later on. I don't want to even list it, but it was pretty nasty. Which is a good experience, and now I understand what I have to say, and I can combine what I have to say and what I would like to say. So all good, all good. Maybe it was bad because different culture were crashing. Yes and no. Sorry for denying it. It is true that it was the two cultures crashing, but it's like it's kind of let me explain that how analogy might be a good So let's say when non-Japanese person go to Japan, well, let's say, I don't want to say, well, American is a very big subject, like a big, person, but let's say that you go to Japan and you expect them to speak English. That's not equal, that's not like fair exchange, right? A Japanese visiting US, so he or the visitors should ideally learn the language in that area. So if I go to Taiwan, I should be speaking Taiwanese. At some point, at least I should try to speak. I shouldn't expect them to speak Japanese or English because I understand those two languages. Back then, I felt, or I was treated, that's probably the better way. I was treated as if I was they were expecting me to speak English in Japan. And my answer is no, I don't want to speak English because here is in Japan, so please learn Japanese. But they kept saying, no, I don't want to learn Japanese, but I want to be the master, or I want to be I want to be good at Japanese culture without learning the language. So I think it's a fairness. The crash itself was good if it's fair, but it was very difficult and nasty because it wasn't fair in terms of power balance. Or probably this might be the word we don't like, but it's privilege difference. So when I understand that difference, it's not that bad because I can just avoid those people. I'm not saying those things do not happen. They keep happening. I just know how to avoid them. I think the amount of cases I would have been experiencing right now is the same. I just don't pick up those things anymore. I just kind of let it go. I learned how to do that. Like if the person does not want to speak Japanese in Japan, I cannot change their mind. If they don't want to speak Japanese, fine with me. But that's not gonna make him or them a Japanese expert. So I am gonna judge from far. It's just a fairness. I think those issues, like social issues, happen because of the unfairness. When it is happening in the fair environment, then we can probably handle it differently. But because of this unfairness, we have to be more careful in what we say or what we do. I hope it makes sense. So, since we're talking about different culture, it is of course gonna crash. And when the crash happens, in this live streaming, in the community, in Sashiko, let's say, in the topic of Sashiko, I think it's fair for me to expect them to understand the expectation of Sashiko or Japanese culture, or I, for that matter. But back then, they expect me to be different rather than them adjusting, or even learning, for that matter, learning, not adjusting, learning. Or back up, even acknowledging it. That's the word I keep using, acknowledging. They don't even acknowledge the difference. And here, everybody here are not the people who do that because they're here. You're here already to listen. So I don't think we will have argument here probably at some point. And when we have a gathering or something, we might have some discussion or argument. But I don't think it's gonna be nasty. Because those people who I encounter and those people who I kind of mention as a nasty example are not gonna come here. They cannot take it. It's too long, too time consuming, too inefficient, and too boring for that, I think, to achieve what they want. So fairness is the key word. I hope it makes sense. Like, I think it's quite important to explain that the difference and also how we can go over the differences. Well, just a little like the memory came back. So some of the things that I was accused of, I was overreacting. That's what they say. Like they kept saying like you were overreacting, and they call me that I'm the crying baby for the attention. And those people often say that I owe the explanation to them because I sort of deny what they say, or even I ask more, and they accuse me for the lack of explanation. And there we go. I was so naive to feel that it was my responsibility to do so. So I was trying to validate or explain what was going on. So, yes, I was naive for that, yes. And passionate, naive. But I think the best word is ignorant. I don't want to say ignorant, but I was not well educated. I did not know. I did not know the fact that I did not even know the fact that those issues could occur because I was always in the sort of protected community. Like Japanese, being born in Japan and being Japanese is quite safe. There's no crashing culture or being unfair for that matter. Because usually I was, or I am, well, I'm the male firstborn child in Japan. So usually I'm the one with the lots of privileges. So I did not even have to think about those things. I would be the one who may wave the unfairness to others, cause the unfairness to others. Well, see, I'm getting better for that actually. I can talk about this. And this is not really related to Sashiko itself, but this is the vehicle. This is how to preserve the culture I'm doing right now. Somebody has to do this kind of labor. Otherwise, that somebody has to be very specific, and that's the really sad thing. Has to be good at stitching, has to be good at English, has to be able to share the stories, has to be experienced. I don't think there are so many people like that in this field. And it's all luck. I was just lucky to be able to speak English. Whew. Just a second. There's one more of those, so I think I should do that. Sorry, my chest is a little clogged. Clogged? Ugh. Yeah, so today I did not bring the topic. So I'm talking about random stuff. Oh, I mean, probably not that big topic here, but because probably the audience here, you are not that much into soccer, but this afternoon was something for the Japanese people, for the soccer World Cup. It was very emotional moment to see that. And, we can say anything from our mouth, right? Like we can promise things or we can make stories. Those are great and those are valuable things, but stories can be a creation. Like anybody can anybody can create stories. Stories are very, very important, but we can make stories. I might be making stories, you just don't know it. Therefore, in order to make it more like realistic or even accountable, I share stitching like this without any editing. So at least that you can understand that I'm not completely bluffing about everything I do. Right? Like I say I'm the Sashiko stitcher, and if I do not stitch, that's a little like fundamental issues. Like me being saying like 39 became 49, that's not the big issue, but if I do not do Sashiko stitching like this, if I don't know how to stitch like this, and yet writing those stories, that's a little too much. Some stories can be exaggeration, some stories can be, minimizing something, but that's a fundamental element shouldn't be that much changed. And the same as soccer, same as those sports too, they show us the result. They show us what they say in real time. That's why it's so powerful, it's so meaningful, it's so emotional, inspiring. And it's gonna be another stories later on. And as a result, they will be the record. They will be kept. They will be passed down to the next generation. Since what I want to do in Sashiko is to pass down pass down the Sashiko we practice to the next generation. For me, it is important to share what I do on top of the stories, or even it's important for me to share what I do in order to make my stories more powerful. So today was a very good moment for us because, they say that they will win over Spain. And not many people believe that, including myself. Nah, I mean, it was probably a good miracle to defeat Germany, yet, come on, Spain. Well, but people say like we can do it. Well, the story itself is great, and it became better, even better, and more powerful because of the result they showed. And Sashiko is not that dramatic. Nothing happens in the 90 minutes. It's just stitching. So, but at the end of my life, let's say, I don't know how many more years I will live, but let's say after 30 years, 40 years, if I can leave something behind it on top of the stories and result, then I think it's gonna be something to be left behind. Just not only the stories, not only the result, both are very important to keep something to be preserved or to pass down. It doesn't have to be preserved, to be passed down. Yep, just a second. Something is off. Is it working? I think it's working, right? It's kind of off on my screen. Wow. I have to change this computer. It's quite old. Living cost a lot of money. Like I just got a good camera last year. Now I have to exchange the computer, and I have to have a laptop and like if I were only stitching in front of the TV, I wouldn't need those things. But again, that's my role. That's my mission to do. So it's all good. Hey, is it stopped? No, it's not stopped. I hope just this. Just a second, okay? Probably okay. So next week around this time, the Wednesday live streaming, I would like to do the live streaming on next Wednesday. No, Wednesday, next Thursday, same time. However, I may be in New York in the morning on the Thursday, and I don't know when I can start driving. And it's gonna take about 3.5 or 4 hours to get back here from the New York, like Manhattan area. Wow, 4 hours probably. So for that, it's very uncertain. I may be able to be here. I would like to be here by 9. But I don't know yet. So I will not schedule it yet for the next week. But if I made it, I will start it without announcement. So if you like to join the live streaming next week, try to just check the YouTube channel around this time. I might be doing that, but there is a possibility that I might not be doing that. I will update it on the Instagram or the YouTube post. But yeah, since I will be in New York for a few days, I can do the Japanese live streaming for sure because I should be back by the Friday morning. Just get home safety, thank you. Has been a long time since I drive to New York, so is it? Wait. Yeah, I have not drove to the New York Manhattan since this pandemic. Last time was in 2019. Yes. I had a workshop in New York this last summer, like 2022, but because I did not want to drive in Manhattan, I asked the organizer to pick me up from New Jersey. So I was staying in New Jersey, and then, she picked me up from the place I was staying. Wow, it's gonna be one exciting experience. I don't like driving in that. It's anybody likes that driving in New York? I don't know. It's the last thing I'd like to do. I miss that. Are you teaching? No, I'm not teaching this time. I'm just visiting. And it's pretty packed, so I wish I could have those like a gathering or even, possible workshop or something in New York, but since I'm just visiting and I have plans already, so it's not teaching experience. Yay. At least it's not gonna snow. That's the one thing. I don't know what I was thinking though before 2019. Like when you live in the Pennsylvania, like central Pennsylvania, where there's nothing, the driving itself is sort of easy because there's nothing on the street. I mean, there's a car parked and then, sideway? No, not sideway, roadside. But because the road is so wide by itself, you kind of don't worry about like driving. You have to stop at the stop sign or stop light. That's about it. No, it's not like, well, there's no lane to change first of all, so you have to just either follow the car, or even following the car is rare because there's no car. Well, I have to be careful with deer or other animals. That's something I don't have to do probably in New York, but that's about it. And because of that experience, well, that easy experience, my driving skill is going down and down and down. I used to drive in Tokyo. I used to drive the executives to places as the associate. Eh. So I think I was better, but and for some reason, I'm gonna call me stupid, but I got a stick. Manual. Well, it was cheaper. That was the cheapest car in the market, and then it was, it happened to be manual stick. So it's a manual stick. Then there's no problem in driving in the rural area because, you know, once you put into the gear 5 or gear 6, that's it. You don't really gear down until you stop. No traffic jam whatsoever that I like. Traffic stop is happening, but jam does not happen. Like, no, doesn't happen. So it's gonna be one experience. It's gonna be one heck of experience. So I have to be careful. Thank you. So let's see how it's gonna be. As much as I I expect the Japanese, as much as I expect the understanding the Japanese culture in the conversation of Sashiko or learning Sashiko or sharing Sashiko, when I visit the, New York or bigger cities or even like living in the US, I am trying my best to follow the cultural things, expectations in the US. It may not, it's not always connected to Sashiko. And if I don't like the way it is, I have to go back to Japan. It's the better way to do that. But since I'm trying to immigrate to this country, usually I am trying to, not usually, in usual days, in usual case, I try to adjust myself to that. So I have to adjust myself to that traffic. Well, wish me luck. Okay, I will stop stitching after this much thread. If you're watching this from archive, please let me. Sorry. If you're watching this from archive, and then if you have any questions or requests about this Sashiko stitching, please write that on the comment section so I can bring it to the next live streaming. And as I said, next week is a little bit unknown, so I will not schedule it right now or next week. I will just pop up if I can make it, or we'll tell you we'll update on the Instagram or YouTube here. One last thing. So this is like my usual ordinary comment, but if you could tap the good button on this live streaming, that would be very much helpful because I share those honest passion. Some people are not happy about what I'm saying, and I understand that. It's being honest is like that. So in order to make the health channel, in order to maintain this channel health, your good button is always helpful. Final mistake. One mistake every hour. Okay. Is it cold over there? Like, it's extremely cold in my house. Like, this is Pennsylvania, so I know it gets cold. This house has a little bit of insulation issue, I guess. I mean, I think every house has some certain of the insulation things. Anyway, it's really cold. That's why I keep the scarf on me. I don't drink the pop anymore because it's gonna be very, very cold. All right. All right. Thank you so much for watching the Sashiko live streaming. It's about 1 hour. Starting from next week or the week after, no, starting from the next live streaming, I will be able to do the little bit longer live streaming. And today was more like a recovery session from the previous week. I don't know what's going on with me though. I have never felt like this before. I've been feeling under the weather for 3 weeks already. Some people say like I got COVID once and then recovered it, but still I have no idea. It's negative, so I don't think I had it. But it's. Does anybody feel the same way? It's not bad enough to like sleep in. I can function, but not really 100%. It's very strange, but I hope that I can come back and I can do longer live streaming sometimes later. All right, so I really hope that you have a good night tonight, and please let me know if you have any requests for me to talk about on the live streaming. Lisa, arigatou gozaimasu. Keep warm. I will keep myself warm. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week or week after that. Have a good night. Bye-bye.